Hello students, this is Ambus sir. In continuation of the lecture 2, today I am going to start lecture 3 of chapter 1, that is reproduction in organisms. Here I will discuss vegetative propagation, that is type 6 of asexual reproduction. Okay, let us begin. Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is the production of new plants from the vegetative parts of the plant. In fact, it is a method of asexual reproduction. Students, two questions arise here. Number one, what are vegetative parts of a plant? And number two, why is vegetative propagation called asexual reproduction? Well, in the answer to the first question, if we talk about a plant, we observe different parts such as roots, stem, leaves, and flower. Out of these four parts, roots, stem, and leaves form the vegetative phase of the lifespan of a plant and do not take part in reproduction. That is why they are called vegetative parts. Now, in the answer to the second question, vegetative propagation is called asexual reproduction because only one plant or parent without the involvement of gametes gives rise to new plants. Finally, I would like to conclude that in nature there are some plants that produce new plants through their vegetative parts. This is how vegetative propagation has come into existence. Now, moving on to the next slide. Abilities of plants linked to vegetative propagation. Students, plants have two unique abilities that play a major role in vegetative propagation. These are: number one, the ability of the meristematic tissue to divide continuously, and number two, the ability of the plant parts to develop adventitious roots. Now, let us come to the first point that says about the ability of the meristematic tissue to divide continuously. Well, vegetative propagation is made possible because of the meristematic tissue, commonly found within stems and leaves, as well as the tips of the roots that contain undifferentiated cells. These cells actively divide by mitosis to allow widespread and rapid primary plant growth. Specialized permanent plant tissue systems also originate from meristematic tissue. Now, come to the second point that says about the ability of the plant parts to develop adventitious roots. In this connection, I would like to say that the development of adventitious roots is key to enabling vegetative propagation in plants, as these lead to the formation of new plants from stems or leaves of a parent plant. Now, moving on to the next slide. Methods of vegetative propagation. Students, there are two methods of vegetative propagation. Number one, natural methods, and number two, artificial methods. Now, let us take one by one. First, natural methods of vegetative propagation. As far as natural methods of vegetative propagation is concerned, it includes strategies that plants have developed to self-propagate, or in other words, it involves no human intervention. That is, natural methods of vegetative propagation keep on going by their own in nature. Besides, human efforts are not required for this. Now, moving on to the next slide. Types of natural methods of vegetative propagation. Students, modified form of the vegetative structures such as stem, roots, and leaves are most often the source of natural methods of vegetative propagation. In view of this fact, natural methods of vegetative propagation are classified into following categories. Number 1, vegetative propagation by modified stems. Number 2, vegetative propagation by modified roots. And number 3, vegetative propagation by modified leaves. Now, let us take one by one. First, vegetative propagation by modified stems. Students, modified stems that help in natural vegetative propagation can be classified further into 3 categories. These are number 1, underground, number 2, subaerial, and number 3, aerial. Now, moving on to the next slide. Types of modified underground stems. Students, there are 4 basic types of modified underground stem. These are rhizome, corm, bulb, and tuber. Now, moving on to the next slide. Rhizome. It is a thick, prostrate, and branched stem growing horizontally beneath the soil surface. Students, in this statement, the main feature is the horizontal growth. Therefore, you must keep in mind that rhizome grows horizontally. Now, moving on to the next statement. It has distinct features such as nodes, internodes, terminal bud, and of course, axillary buds in the axil of scale leaves. Since rhizome is a stem, so these features will obviously be there. The buds remain dormant in unfavorable conditions. Dormant means in a state of minimal metabolic activity with cessation of growth. Obviously, it happens in unfavorable conditions. During favorable conditions, the terminal bud develops aerial shoot with inflorescence. The aerial shoot in turn undergoes photosynthesis and forms food that gets stored in the rhizome beneath. As a result, the axillary buds grow into branches. Along with this, The lower surface of the nodes gives out small, slender, adventitious roots. Now, as far as the examples are concerned, Gingiber officinale, commonly known as ginger, and Curcuma domestica, commonly known as turmeric, are very familiar examples of the rhizome. Finally, this is an illustration of the rhizome of ginger. Students, concentrate on the nodes, internodes, scale leaves, buds, and adventitious roots. Besides, you are observing an aerial shoot that reminds the condition being faced by the rhizome. Of course, it is favorable. So, we can conclude that this rhizome is metabolically active and undergoing the process of vegetative propagation. Now, moving on to the next slide. Corm. Students, corm is a condensed form of rhizome that undergoes vertical growth, meaning the corm is similar to that of the rhizome except for the pattern of growth it exhibits. Yes, it grows vertically downward in the soil as against the rhizome and appears condensed. As far as its shape is concerned, it is spherical to oval in shape and usually unbranched. Since corm is a stem, so some horizontal circular lines represent nodes having scale leaves. Now come to the axillary buds. One or more axillary buds are present in the axil of the scale leaves, which grow into daughter corms in favorable conditions. Now concentrate on this illustration. These are corms of Colocasia, a very familiar vegetable commonly known as urvi. Students, here the horizontal circular lines, that is, the nodes are clearly visible. Scale leaves are also visible. Besides, you are the witness of the aerial shoots coming into existence because of the growth of the terminal buds. Now, moving on to the next slide. Contrary to the axillary buds, the terminal bud, in favorable conditions, grows into the aerial shoot that bears foliage, leaves, and flowers. Now, moving on to the next point, it says the foliage leaves undergo photosynthesis, form food, which is stored in the daughter corms, thus it grows. Here, foliage leaves are the normal leaves that form food by photosynthesis. The food gets stored in the daughter corm, thus ensuring its growth. Simultaneously, adventitious roots develop, that is, the growth of the aerial shoot and daughter corm is accompanied by the development of adventitious roots. Now, as far as the examples are concerned, corm is formed by Gladiolus, Colocasia, and Amorphophallus. Here, gladiolus is an ornamental plant with a pleasant flower, while colocasia and amorphophallus are used as vegetables. Finally, concentrate on this illustration. This is a corm of gladiolus. Students, observe carefully the current year's corm, last year's corm, and the preceding year's corm, which is being withered. Here, the last year's corm can be assumed as the parent corm, while the current year's corm as the daughter corm. Students, keep in mind this fact that the parent corm is giving rise to the daughter corm because of natural vegetative propagation following the favorable conditions in the subsequent growing seasons. Now moving on to the next slide. Bulb. These are all the different points that together explain the bulb. Let us take one by one. The first point says that bulbs are underground condensed shoots where stem is reduced and becomes discoid, that is, shaped like a disc. Students, it is very visible in the illustration B. Now, moving on to the next point. On the lower side of the disc, adventitious roots develop in clusters. Again, it is very visible in the illustration. Now, come to the next point that says, on the upper side of the disc are present a terminal bud, axillary buds, and compactly arranged fleshy scale leaves, giving rise to the shape of a bulb. Students, these are all visible in the illustration and hope you have understood. Next point says, the axillary buds present inside the bulb develop into new plants by giving rise to daughter bulbs in favorable conditions following the growing season. Of course, this will happen only when the terminal bud will grow into the aerial shoot and start making food by photosynthesis. Now, come to the examples. Allium cepa, commonly known as onion, and Allium sativum, commonly known as garlic, are very popular examples of the bulb. Now, concentrate on this illustration. This illustration shows the natural vegetative propagation in onion. Let us observe the different parts of the illustration. Well, on the extreme left hand side, the bulb is in its initial state. Next to that, there is the cross section of the bulb showing its inside view. Next, at the arrival of the early season, the lateral or the axillary buds become active, which finally towards the end of season give rise to daughter bulbs. Now moving on to the next slide. Tuber. These are all the different points that explain the tuber. According to the first point, tuber is a swollen or spherical tip of underground lateral branches of a stem because of the storage of food. Students, pay attention. Here, I've talked about the tip only of the underground lateral branches of a stem that swells up. Now, next 2 points. Each tuber has spirally arranged depressions called eyes, where axillary bud is situated, and the rim of the eye exhibits scale leaf scar. In this way, the eye represents the node. Since tuber is a stem, therefore, these 2 points, that is, the second and the third, tell about nothing but the features of the stem. Next point, the buds present on the tuber produce new plantlets during the favorable conditions. Students, now concentrate on the illustration. This is tuber of potato. It is swollen and oval in appearance. At places the eyes, that is nodes, are visible. One eye bud has formed an aerial shoot also. Thus, this tuber shows natural vegetative propagation and reminds us of the favorable conditions. Now, come to the examples. Solanum tuberosum, commonly known as potato, and Helianthus tuberosus, commonly known as Jerusalem artichoke, are the examples of tuber. Now, moving on to the next slide. Conclusion drawn from the underground stem. Students, these are some of the points that are connected with the underground stems. You are advised to go through these points and remember them. Now, this is the end of this session. The remaining part of this session continues in the coming days. Now, moving on to the next slide. Questions for practice. Students, these are some of the questions that cover the entire lecture. Evaluate yourself by answering these questions. Besides, make your own notes based on the lecture. Your notebooks will be assessed during the normal schooling. Thanks for listening to me. In the next session, I'll be back with some more energy. Till then, take care, stay at home, and keep learning.